Hey, Dean from Leisure Travel Vans. We're in beautiful Winkler, Manitoba here at the Triple E Leisure Travel Van Factory, and I'm very excited because we're going to do a complete factory tour from start to finish. We are a vertically integrated company. We make everything we can in-house. We're going to walk through all the sub-assembly areas, and then we're going to walk you down the main assembly lines where we build the Unity and Wonder motorhomes. We're going to go back into our engineering department and, of course, our offices as well. You're going to see the entire factory. I am so excited to show you the factory. Come on, let's get started. Let's go inside. Hey, this is our main reception area. To my right is our administration offices. This is our main offices here at Leisure Travel Vans. This is where we run our sales department, accounting department, executive offices. Actually, that's Phil's office right over there, one of the founders of our company. We have behind us the design decor and our payroll department, which is very important. Our engineering department, where we do all the engineering for the Leisure Travel Vans. We do optimizing for all of our prototypes, all of our CNC saw machines, everything that goes into a Leisure Travel Van, drawings, design, modeling is done right up here. We're in our people and culture department right here at Triple E, very important department where we do all of our hiring, training, for safety. We're in our marketing department here at Leisure Travel Vans. They're responsible for our great Leisure Travel Van website, social media, our dealer dashboard. We also do sales training, brochures. This is our customer service lounge area. So if you happen to be in Winkler, Manitoba, and you wanted to get some work done on your Leisure Travel Van motorhome, this is where you would come to lounge and relax. We have internet, we have drinks, kind of a nice area just to kick back and relax while we're doing some work on your Leisure Travel Van. Over in our customer service department, this is where we look after all of our dealer inquiries for service and our customer inquiries for service as well. Now this is where we would get all of our parts orders in from our dealers, and my good friend Don is going to ship those parts. Purchasing are responsible for buying all the supplies that come into the factory for us to build Leisure Travel Van motorhomes. This is the receiving area at the Leisure Travel Van factory, and this is where all the merchandise that comes into the factory, if there's anything that goes into the motorhome, is received in this area. Once we've received it, we move it into the areas in throughout the factory where we're going to be assembling. Everything arrives just in time so we can build your motorhome. Okay, so first thing we do when we get a chassis in from the chassis manufacturers, right there we've got a Ford Transit chassis that we build the Wonders on. We bring the chassis in, we check for any imperfections in the chassis, we completely wash the chassis down, and we check it again to make sure it's good to build on. The Unity built on the Mercedes-Benz chassis, which we bring in all the way from Germany, and the Ford Transit chassis that we bring in from Kansas City. So this is where it all starts. So after we've got that chassis completely cleaned and inspected, we're going to start the assembly process. We're going to start putting the full floor outriggers on, and we're going to start the manufacturing assembly, and it's going to roll down this assembly line. We have lots of little sub-assembly areas inside the main factory. The sub-assembly areas are designed to make parts and items that go on to the motorhome or into the motorhome. In this situation, we got our full floor outriggers. That's going to hold our steel frame floor. And this is our chassis extension, all solid steel, all powder coated, so it'll never rust. That's very important. Okay, now we've added our steel to the chassis, as you can see. You'll see holes throughout the Mercedes-Benz chassis. We can only use those holes to add our steel. We can never weld onto the Mercedes-Benz chassis or the Ford chassis because they've rust-proofed this chassis and they don't want anything to take the rust-proofing off. So you'll see that everything is bolted on. Full floor outriggers. We put on our 5,000-pound receiver hitch. As we work our way down, you can see our leveling jacks are fully installed. And then we're going to tighten up these full floor outriggers. Full floor outriggers means that the floor is going to sit completely on the edge, so you have a nice sturdy foundation. So all the steel has been added to the Mercedes-Benz chassis, and then we're going to move it forward, start putting our tanks on, and then our floor. We've added our gray tank and our black tank. And you'll also notice they're all spray foam. We've added all of our sensors to the equipment. This is where your propane is going to go, all enclosed in steel. We've also put on our optional generator. As we're moving forward, you can see we've added our chassis extensions here. If a customer orders the optional aluminum rims, we have to take the steel rims off. Steel rims come off and aluminum rims come on. Not a lot of open space left underneath the motorhome. We've also completely leveled the motorhome with a two system, an outer and an inner leveling system, our jigs, to make sure that the level of the motorhome is completely square, because we're gonna add the floor pretty soon and wanna be able to build up from there. So we're gonna move on to the next section. This is where we make all of our compartments, all of our lower compartments, all galvanized sheet metal, won't rust, super strong, all spot welded together, all handcrafted, and that's gonna fit in all your lower compartments in the motorhome. Now we're gonna go into the welding shop. This is where we make the walls, the roof, and the floor frame. I think this is one of the key features on a leisure travel van, is how we make the walls, the roof, and the floor like no one else. Boxed aluminum framing for the walls and roof on a Unity, and on a Wonder motorhome, boxed aluminum for the walls, roof, and floor. So boxed means that it is a solid piece of aluminum all the way around. Right? It's like an egg on its end, it'll never crack. And that's how we make the walls and the roof. It's slightly curved on the roof and on the walls, which creates the round roof and the slight curve on the walls as well. But you can see how heavy duty this is. Everything is welded together. These little riv nuts are put into the frame of the roof so that when we screw the roof onto the wall, it actually gets bolted together all the way you can see down through here. So it's a very cool way of securing the wall onto the roof. Slight curve in the wall. Everything is completely framed in, windows, compartments. We have a slight cut marks in here. We're gonna vacuum press this to create the curve. And then they go on the trolleys and off to the vacuum shop, where we're gonna make them into a complete wall now. We're now in the sandwich department. This is where we're gonna take those frames and we're gonna make them into vacuum bonded, fully insulated walls, roof, and floors. This is a cool process that Leisure Travel Van does like no one else. First thing they're gonna do is we're gonna take those welded frames that we have for the floor and the walls and the roof. It's a multi-layered, like a panini sandwich. We're gonna take different layers, we're gonna squish them together through the press, and it's gonna come out as a one-piece composite wall, roof, and floor. So now they're gonna apply the fiberglass flex roof. You can see how it's all rolled up. That can really show you how flexible it is, right? So if you're in the freezing cold or you're 120 degrees in Arizona, you don't have to worry about the roof cracking, because it'll expand and contract with heat and cold. It's gonna last. Absolutely fabulous product. And you can see how perfectly it's installed onto the roof. They have about 18 minutes to get the walls and roof set up. So now they're gonna put it into the press, and we're gonna press the roof, walls, and floor, because it's all built exactly the same. And then it's gonna be pressed in the press behind us between 1 hour and an hour and a half. About 7 pounds mercury Hearst, which is about 7 pounds per square inch in the press. And that becomes a one-piece composite wall, roof, or floor, which is super strong. That is what makes a Leisure Travel Van the best motorhome in the industry. This is what makes a Leisure Travel Van the best van in the industry. The walls and roof and floor completely vacuum bonded. And what that does for our customers is it gives you consistent strength, consistent R value, no matter where you cut the motorhome. See, here's a roof on a Unity. See how thick it is, right? So when this gets cut out, it just drops down. So you have consistent strength, consistent R value throughout the walls, roof, and floor. Right now you can see we've got a Unity floor. You can see 1/2-inch plywood decking. Anywhere we've drilled holes, fully insulated. So now we've got our walls, our floor, and our roof fully done. So you can see everything is framed in, Vetrolite exterior skin. In this area, we've just put the floor onto the chassis, and now we're gonna carriage bolt the floor all the way through the Mercedes-Benz chassis to make it one with the chassis. So steel frame floor, all carriage bolted down. Now we have a one-piece floor and a one-piece chassis. Okay, our chassis is now complete. Coming out of our chassis assembly area, it's going to go onto the main assembly line. You can see the full vacuum bonded insulated floor has been installed. We got our inverter installed, lower galvanized sheet metal compartments, battery area, leveling jacks are on, aluminum rims, they're on, generator's been installed, our full floor, linoleum covered, steel frame floor all done. Back here we've got our receiver hitch all done. You can see the tanks fully insulated, all installed. It's gonna go over to the main assembly area. So this one is completely done, ready to go. Okay, this is where it all begins in our cabinetry or our mill shop. This is our wood acclimatization area. We store all the wood, we let it sit for a certain number of days. Once we have all the wood acclimatized, then we're gonna start to cut all the woods on our CNC saw machines and routing machines. CNC stands for Computer Numerical Control. Come on, let's go have a look at those. So all the CNC machines, and we have CNC saw machines, CNC routers, edge banding machines, they cut all the wood. We don't hand cut anything. Everything is cut, put into the carts, and then sent to the assembly line. Every single piece of wood gets a blueprint number, run number, part number, what we're building, because everything is built in the mill shop off of blueprints. We have about 7 or 8 different CNC machines throughout the entire factory. So we cut all the woods on this side, and then we assemble over on the other side of the mill shop. So all the individual pieces of wood that are cut for that cabinet are put on the cart, and then the cart's gonna go to the cabinet shop. We're gonna assemble those parts, those pieces, into cabinets for the motorhome. This is the main mill shop. This is where we're gonna make all those wood pieces into cabinets. So we're gonna make them into frames, then we're gonna make them into upper cabinets, lower cabinets. We're gonna do furniture framing. We're also gonna do all of our Corian countertops. So anything that is a wood-related product inside a leisure travel van is made in this beautiful mill shop. We make everything ourselves here in this part of the factory. Plus we make our own curved doors, all done in-house. The final stage in the mill shop is once the cabinet is completed, so this cabinet is considered a part or a component, onto the dollies and then off to the assembly line for installation. We're over in the electrical department. This is where we make all the electrical wiring for Unity and Wonder motorhomes. All of our wire is pre-stamped every couple inches, so we know exactly what that wire is doing in the wiring harness. We do 120 volt wiring, 12 volt wiring, automotive wiring, all done in this wiring area. You can see our wiring tables all over here. Everything's made to an exact specific length. We pre-wire everything into a wiring harness. The wiring harness is installed in the motorhome, and then we have basically plug and play where we connect everything into the main wiring harnesses. There's usually 2 wiring harnesses in every motorhome, one high and one low, and everything runs off of that. So anything electrical is done in this area, including our multiplexing. Okay, we're in the plumbing department right now here at Leisure Travel Vans. We make all the plumbing parts for your Unity and Wonder motorhomes. So all plumbing parts are made to home plumbing codes. We have the run number of the motorhome that we're going to be building. We use Toughplex water lines, and we use all the exact plumbing codes that your plumber would be using in a residential home. So all the plumbing parts are made for each individual motorhome. They're put into one of our carts. That cart is then sent to the assembly line for installation. In the cabinet department, we would pre-plumb any cabinet things, for example, the sink, hot and water faucets, and then we would just connect into them. So you can see blue for cold water, red for hot water, all your plumbing stacks for your plumbing toilet lines and shower lines all done here are inside here, and they will be then assembled on the main assembly line. Right here are the Mercedes-Benz seats and the Ford seats on the Wonder. We would take them out of the chassis, reupholster them all in ultra leather, and then put them back into the motorhome. Each seat has to go back into the exact motorhome that it was taken out of, so that's very important. We're in the upholstery department at Leisure Travel Vans, and this is where we make all the upholstered items that go in to a Leisure Travel Van for the Unity and Wonder motorhomes. So we make bedspreads, all serge stitched together so they won't fray apart. We also make all of your cushions for your seat areas. We also reupholster the driver and passenger seats. We also use ultra leather only in all of the sitting areas, which is a synthetic man-made leather, comes out of Japan, fabulous material. We make our leisure lounge plush chairs here in this area, which we have a patent on. And we also do French style stitching on all of our cushion areas. So that's all done here in the upholstery department at Leisure Travel Vans. Stage 1, the motorhome just came in from the chassis shop. Now we're gonna put the cabinets in. We build the Unities and Wonders all in the same assembly line. So first thing we're gonna do is let's get all the cabinets installed, and then we're gonna work it down the assembly line. We build Unities and Wonders all in the same assembly line. Right now we have a Unity twin bed in production here. So all the cabinets go in, then we start to put plumbing, we start to put our propane lines in, and then we're gonna work our way down into electrical as well. So all the cabinets go in first, and then we're gonna put the walls and roof on later. Once all the cabinets are now in place, then we're gonna start putting components inside. Furnaces, refrigerators, hot water heaters, so all your components go in. So all the sub-assembly areas have to have all their pieces here as the unit goes from station to station. Okay, as we work our way down to the next assembly area, this is where we connect everything from underneath the chassis. Water tanks, black tanks, gray tanks, everything gets connected up to its important thing. So we're gonna lift this up high into the air. Okay, now that we got the chassis up nice high into the air, we're gonna make sure that everything is connected underneath the chassis. It's kind of cool to see underneath the chassis. You can see all of our tanks are spray foam that protects them, also gives them some insulation. All of our compartments are insulated. That also gives them some protection from when you're driving down the road, nice and quiet. But they're gonna connect everything, generators, water lines, water pumps into all the different tanks. Everything's gonna be connected, and then they're gonna do a testing system on everything. When we install a component into the motorhome, we test it to make sure that it's live and good to go. You can see the wall is completely done. We even pre-installed the beautiful, sexy, frameless glass windows. Once we have the walls on, we can put the roof on, which is on the next stage. So kind of cool to see how everything is getting done, starting to look like a little motorhome now. Okay, so they're prepping the roof here, as you can see. I just want to point out this really cool thing. So over in our electrical sub-assembly area, you can see we stamp all the wire every couple inches so we know exactly what the wiring harness is doing in the motorhome. Everything's done with what we call quick connects, so we're just gonna plug and play. Nobody does electrical like we do. And we run just-in-time manufacturing, so everything has to be in its spot just in time. So for example, now we've prepped the roof for that motorhome when it moves down the line. We got a roof going on this motorhome. You can see the roof is all prepped. So everything is put on the roof ahead of time. Then we're gonna lift the roof up with a hoist, slide it on over, and install it onto the walls. Hey, come on, let's get up on top of here and have a look at the roof. So here we are, we're up on the roof now. Now we're installing it. Remember, we carriage bolt it. You can see it here. Remember, we were in the welding shop and we seen where they were pre-plumbing the rivet nuts. Boom, 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 boom. See, our wiring harness from our wiring shop is all installed. That runs all the electrical up on the roof. So you can see everything is up on the roof here. Roof installed onto the walls. We're in our plastics department, so we try to make all the parts that we can ourselves. That way we always control the quality of that part. In the plastics department here, we mold all of our plastic items that go into a leisure travel van, and that's done on every single Unity and Wonder motorhome. We're in the fiberglass shop now, trying to make everything ourselves in the motorhome. This is where we're gonna make the rear mass, front mass, the side fender skirts, steps, anything fiberglass is gonna be made here in this part of the factory. And this is stage one of the fiberglass process. You can see we've got our orange molds. We made those in our mold shop. We're gonna spray in the gel coat. We're gonna paint it. So he's gonna spray the gel coat. We're gonna let it cure. Then it's gonna come over here and they're gonna spray this black vinyl ester barrier coat over top of the gray gel coat. Once that cures, we apply chop and resin. The vinyl ester barrier prevents any see-through of the chop and resin to the outside of the fiberglass. And then we apply chop and resin, and then we hand roll out every inch of the fiberglass mold so that it won't bubble up. Then we're gonna let it cure, and then we're gonna add core bonding, which gives fiberglass extra strength. This is a rear mask. We add steel into the rear mass for optional ladders, and then we resin it again and we let it cure. And curing time can anywhere be from 45 minutes to 6 hours, depending on the size of the mold. Once we've let the mold cure, we pop it out of the mold, and then we put it in one of our 2 sanding booths, and here they're gonna sand it all down nice and smooth. Kind of like drywall, you have to finish the drywall before you can paint it. Exact same procedure. So 2 downdraft boosts, suck up all the dust, smooth it all down, and get it ready for assembly and eventually for painting. Okay, the other way we make fiberglass here at Leisure Travel Vans is resin transfer molding, RTM. Little different style of fiberglass. So we have the fiberglass matting, which is like the chop and gel coat, except it already comes in layered piece. We place it into the mold. We then put this is the A side, we put the B side over top of it, and then we inject resin into the mold through here. And that's called resin transfer molding. So 2 different ways to make fiberglass, open molding and resin transfer molding. And then everything goes on the carts, ready to go over to the assembly line. We're up on top of the world. Looking at the factory, you can see all the units down the assembly line, see all the different sub-assembly areas. There's the walls getting ready to be installed, roofs being ready to install. And look, next step, we gotta put the fiberglass mask, front mask, rear mask, side mask from our fiberglass shop onto the motorhome. So this is what mask is gonna go on to the back of the motorhome, front of the motorhome, insulated as you can see it. You can see we got steel built into the mask for exterior ladder. This is called core bonding. It gives fiberglass additional strength. Once again, we build all the Wonders and the Unities on the same assembly line, kind of the same process as it goes down the line. So let's get the rear mast installed and the front mast. Let's go right now. Okay, now we're gonna install the rear mast. You can see the mast slides over the wall, and then we screw it together. We also seal it as well, and we have another seal that's gonna go on it. You can see our fiberglass flex roof up there. Once again, vacuum bonded walls, roof and floor, super strong. Lower compartment doors are installed. This is called an EPDM rubber hinge seal. That's where we install it. Optional generator, but see how they nicely close under it, curved under. Remember, this is a beautiful curved wall. That's why we vacuum bond. If you pinch rolled or you hung the wall, you can't curve the wall. Only a vacuum press can curve the wall. Man, we're starting to take shape now. Upper cabinets are in, the walls are on, roof is on, rear mast is on. Now we're gonna put the front mast onto the motorhome as we move down the assembly line. Okay, next station, we're gonna start putting our seals on. You can see the fiberglass flex roof is sealed up at the top now. As we keep moving down, we got our refrigerator all hooked up. You know, certain electrical areas are fully functional now. You can see our pure sine wave inverter's been installed and it's fully operational. Compartment doors, we got lights running inside the motorhome, front mast, rear mast, and of course, once again, fully insulated side masks. Slide over top of the wall, gives it a nice tight seal. You can see all the lines down the assembly line going forward and back. This is very important. So now you can see everything's installed. We've sealed the roof onto the mast. 4-seal process of sealing this. Every single screw head is sealed. Front mast, rear mast, all sealed together. Hey, look, there's a big hole in the wall. No, not really. This is where your slide out box is gonna go. We're in a Unity Murphy bed. 2 more moves. We're gonna put the slide out into the motorhome. And we're in the slide out sub-assembly area. This is where we make the slide out box. Walls, roof, and floor, all vacuum bonded just like the main motorhome. Slide out box is made like a component, and it's gonna slide into the motorhome. So you can see all the electrical's done. The Leisure Lounge, optional Leisure Lounge Plus chairs have been installed, and we're just gonna slide it into the motorhome. Bulb seal, sweeper seal. So it's gonna go in perfectly square every single time. Now this part of the factory is where we do what we call the interior final finish. So we've done all the exterior slide out boxes in, cabinets are in, all the components are in. Now we're gonna make sure everything is fully functional. We're gonna hook up all the electrical, make sure all the plumbing's working. Upper curved cabinet doors are installed. So what we call the final finish areas over these next 5 stations. Part of final finish is, once again, testing everything to make sure everything works. And we also do a pressure test on every single motorhome to make sure that there's no air leaks coming out of windows or any wall areas or any vent areas. So we do a pressure test for, how long do we do the pressure test for?
I think approximately 10 minutes.
10 minutes, we pressure test the entire unit. And plus, after we've built the motorhome and painted it, we do a full water test for almost 1 hour. So we wanna make sure that the motorhome is completely airtight. And in this final finish area, we're making sure that everything is fully functional and live. You can see we're checking all the tanks, dumping the tanks, filling the tanks, making sure the exterior water tanks are working. Electrical is fully live. Hot water heater is fully live. So we're making sure that everything inside the motorhome and outside the motorhome is fully functional and working before we take it off the assembly line. 2 more move stations as we're moving down the main assembly line for the Wonders and Unities. This stage, we're cleaning the entire motorhome. We vacuum it from head to toe, clean up everything, make sure everything is fully functional, but it gets completely cleaned as it's come down the assembly line. So on the second last move station, we make sure the batteries are fully charged. We check all the fluids to make sure that the engine fluids are all up to speed. Hey, this is the final move station. This is the history of the motorhome. Every single item that was put into the motorhome. It tells you who built the motorhome, who put that part in, and then we move on and everything has to be signed off. So this is the final checklist before it goes You can see all the upper cabinet doors are done. The motorhome is fully functional, ready to go. In the last move before it goes to the paint department for full painting, but a little recap. So we started off in the welding shop. We put all the steel onto the chassis. We put the floor on. We moved it over into the main plant here. We started putting cabinets in, electrical, plumbing, inverters, converters. Then we put the walls on and the roof, front and rear mass. We went to the final finish area interior-wise, interior cabinets, made sure everything's fully functional. So boom, last move station, final check, make sure that everything's in the motorhome. You can see they're checking the jacks to make sure they're holding pressure. And then it's gonna go over to the paint shop where we're gonna paint this beautiful motorhome. So it's come a long way in a short period of time. We're over in the paint shop right now, and this is where we paint all the motorhomes. Once again, we're vertically integrated. We do everything we can ourselves. Each motorhome is painted with 3 coats of color, 2 coats of clear. You can see right here we have a fully painted Eurosport, but it hasn't been clear coated because as you can see how shiny that one is, so you can see the big difference, which is kind of cool to see. Okay, we're at the start of the paint process. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna wash the entire motorhome down in our wash bay right over here. And then we're gonna mask the entire motorhome off. We have to sand the entire motorhome down. We have to then mask off all the areas that we don't wanna paint. And then of course, once we've got that all done, it's gonna go down into one of our downdraft paint booths and they're gonna paint. We run 2 painters in each paint booth. One paints one side, one paints the other side. Once that first process of paint is done, the first color, we paint that 3 times, let it dry. And then we're gonna put the second color on next. We put the spray masks on, and then we're gonna paint the second color of the motorhome. And then that'll be the process of it. Then it comes out, and then we're gonna clear coat it with 2 coats of clear. So each color is painted 3 times, 2 coats of clear. It's a beautiful process. And then it comes into our final finish area over here where they're gonna buff it all out and make sure that it looks absolutely fantastic. So after 4 to 5 days in our paint shop, over to plant 3, and this is the final finish area. This is where we're gonna do lots of great things. We're gonna put the awnings on, ladders, badging, water testing, and function testing. So this is the last part of the manufacturing process. So we're gonna let Kevin Friesen, he's gonna walk you through all the areas that we do over here in Plant 3. Kevin.
All right. So our first stop comes from paint shop, and we do all the lower decals and ladders, exterior tables, anything after post paint on the lower area of the coach. So as you can tell, he's installing an optional ladder right now. All right, next stop is wheel alignment bay. We'll bring it on the hoist here. We hook up all of our wheel reflectors. We do a full wheel alignment on it and a full underfloor inspection, which we're looking at propane lines, hydraulic lines, electrical, anything to be clamped properly to make sure it's all proper for our codes. Next stop is our awning station, scaffold, where we prep and install all of our awnings. We do all of our seals on the windows, moldings, all of our Dicor touch-ups on the roof to make sure everything's fully waterproof and no leaks. Next stop is a road test. We take it to Morden back on the highway. It's about 24 kilometers. And then we check for rattles, squeaks, or dog tracking, any items that could cause issues. So after road test comes into our dielectric test bay here. We do all of our dielectric tests, which check it for electrical shorts in the 110 wires. Also wheel torque, we do all that as well. And Zentry coating on the Mercedes chassis. And all the weight decals we make and print on our computer over there. So after dielectric test comes into rain test bay, which is a fully automated system now. And we run for about 1 hour. And then we're testing and checking for leaks in the windows. If we find any, we will repair them. And we do full interior cleaning in that station as well. All right, we're now in our function bay here in Plant 3, and we are checking everything, any component that is installed on the coach. And we check everything quite thoroughly and make sure it's all operating properly. With our function test, we are testing, let's say, water lines. We do for 100-pound PSI for 30 minutes. That's just to verify there's no leaks in the water lines. So now with our function test, we test the entrance doors as well. We make sure everything latches properly. We test the screen doors, make sure the seals, the doors have the right angle so that they are contacting for so no air noise. We check the baggage doors for compression, make sure the latches work properly. make sure everything's functioning properly as it should. We also check like cabinet doors, drawers, all the electrical system, TVs, roof vents, bath doors. We do a full flood test for 15 minutes, check for any leaks at all in the ABS system. It's quite a engulfed test that we do, so there's a lot of, everything gets tested in this thing, and when it's thoroughly done, then it gets marked out and ready for shipping.
So once the motorhome is completely built, function testing, everything's ready to go, paperwork done, comes over to the shipping department, and Ray coordinates the trucks to ship the motorhomes to our dealers and eventually our customers. We do not drive any units to our dealers. They're shipped 2 at a time on a flatbed truck. It comes over into this area here. Ray's then gonna coordinate the shipping with the trucking companies. They're gonna pick them up. Once again, we ship them 2 at a time on a flatbed trailer. We don't drive any units out, so all these units are ready to go to the dealer. That was incredible. Was that not fun to see the entire factory, every aspect of the Leisure Travel Van built from start to finish? Hey, we're a privately owned company. We've been building RVs here since 1965. Same family-owned company. We want to thank all of our employees for building the best motorhomes built in the world. We want to thank all of our customers for buying Leisure Travel Vans. We go and see one of our Leisure Travel Van dealers and see one of these beautiful motorhomes in person. Hey, can't wait to see you. Dean from Leisure Travel Vans. Come see me in Winkler, or hopefully I'll see you at an RV show real soon. Thank you.